Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you've been well. It's windy out. I do have my little fuzzy mic on, so hopefully you guys can hear me all right. But today, I'm gonna be talking about how to get your rooftop tent off of your truck. So I've used a bunch of different ways. I'm gonna show you one that I've never used before that I just rigged up right up here. And then later in the video, I'll show you some other systems and kind of talk about some other systems as well. So I'll try to put those timestamp link thingies down in this video, you know, down there. It's like sectioned off, so you can just like click them and go to wherever you want, so you can do that. And it's gonna be a little bit of a vloggy type video, day in the life-ish maybe. I'm about to head to church, so I'm in a bit of a rush to get this tent off. And then we're gonna swing by Home Depot, grab some trees, go to the new property, and plant some of those trees. We were there yesterday and I planted like 6 apple trees and a peach tree, pear tree. So we'll show you that. So that's this video. But for now let's check this system out. So what we have here is a chain pulley or a chain hoist. This one is super overkill. It's a 2-ton, 20-footer. I had it for another project though, so I figured I would just try it out. And then it's connected. Let me turn my exposure up here. So up here, this is actually like a swing thing that I just bolted to my deck up here. And that is connected to the chain pulley, which is then connected to these straps that I have wrapped around, and then some carabiners. This is a relatively light load, you know, for the world of actual load-bearing carabiners, so this shouldn't be an issue at all. And I'll link to all this stuff. I'll probably actually link to a more appropriate one. So a 20-foot chain puller means you can lift something from 20 feet below. Think like a tree house or a second floor or something like that. And 2 tons obviously is much more weight than a rooftop tent. And then what I did here on the front runner crossbars. So these front runner crossbars are mounted to the Diamondback cover, obviously. I unbolted the bolts for the crossbar. So what's gonna happen is this is gonna lift up the tent and the crossbars in one go, rather than unbolting the tent and leaving the crossbars. I don't actually need the crossbars because I'm gonna be kind of folding this cover back and loading some trees in here. So I'll show you that part of it later, but let me go ahead and put this on a tripod and I'll pulley this tent up so you can see it. So this pulley basically uses a bunch of gears to make a crazy ratio. So you pull this one a bunch and it slowly raises this chain. So what we have now is obviously this whole thing is floating. So you want to make sure when you're pulling it off, you park in a position where you're not pulling it at some crazy angle. Otherwise you risk your tent actually like sliding into your truck or something like that. So here it is. So again, this is a system I've never used before, basically a single point system for a rooftop tent anyway. And again, it's super windy out, so this is probably the worst scenario to do it. But basically, probably what you'll want to do is tie off kind of one corner just to keep it from spinning. I am gonna risk it because we're running a little bit late because I decided to do this in the morning before heading to church again. So I'm just gonna leave it. So we're gonna come back and hopefully this hasn't blown off and is on the ground. But I wouldn't necessarily recommend this. And later in the video, I'm gonna talk about why maybe you don't need to do this and make some like legal disclaimers of this is what I do. Not saying you should do it.
A few moments later.
So we got some trees for the property.
Oh, hi.
Well, hey. We were supposed to get an aspen tree and we ended up getting raspberries, blueberries, and then 5 trees. We got a couple of cherry trees. We got a maple tree. And then we got 2 aspens. So we'll go plant those a little bit later.
2 aspens. This is what we call a long-term investment. So we're here. I've decided my dad hat's also going to be my farmer hat. You leaving?
Yes.
Here's Ashley. She's leaving me. Here's her
My
Rav.
hair got in my eye.
Oops. You still like it?
I love it. It's so cute.
We're talking about she should do a review of it on her channel now that she's had it for like 1.5 years. Yeah? Let us know if you want her to do a review of it. Alright, bye, love you.
I love you.
There's the Ford. Ooh, yeah, farmer truck right now. Alright, I'm gonna walk up this way. So we weren't originally planning to plant a bunch of fruit trees, but I decided to buy a bunch. So these are a bunch of apple trees here. They're covered because we have crazy deer and elk and everything that wants to eat them. So these are a bunch of cold hardy apple trees. So ones that will pollinate each other and produce fruit. Have a pear tree actually up here that's 2 pear grafted onto 1 tree. So it's kind of a self-pollinator. And then kind of spur of the moment, bought these at Home Depot today. This is a Rainier cherry, and then this is a Bing cherry. So we may start up a little orchard here. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, bye. And then we had a maple tree and a couple aspen tree that we planted down there. So tents off, obviously. And Ashley found this, actually tripped over this down at the bottom of our property. Looks pretty old. Kind of cool. Kind of cool to find. So let's walk down here real quick. So we have some big, huge, beautiful coniferous trees, and we have some aspen on the property as well, but we wanted some more. So these are some small aspen tree, and the deer will come munch these things right up as well. So they're covered. And then this is a maple tree over here that we'll see if it survives. I had to drive kind of fast, so some of these leaves got a little damaged. So we'll see if those survive. Basically, we've just been watching YouTube videos of planting trees, taking a break from all my YouTube videos of how to build houses, basically. I used to work construction. Well, I worked construction a couple summers in college, so I know a bit, but learning a bunch more. So this is the, I think, seasonal creek, kind of snow melt off. Interested to see how long it lasts. I'm guessing it'll dry up this summer, which is a bummer, but I don't know. We'll see. I guess it depends on how much it rains and whatnot. So this is kind of the area down behind where our house will be, like up there. So this is kind of the meadow down behind our house. You can see there's still snow, again, because all these pine trees. This is south over there, so they block. They obviously put this in the shade most of the day, so that's kind of melting off. So the plan is to, clean a bunch of this stuff up, and this is kind of probably going to be a big hangout area down here. And here's the big, beautiful one. It's kind of crowded in here with all these others. I have no idea about pine trees. My brother's like a pine tree expert, actually. He majored in fisheries and wildlife, but just kind of kept that knowledge of wilderness alive. There's another nice one over there. But yeah, hopefully, you know, trees are kind of a long-term investment, but in 10 years, it'll be really cool. All right, so I think that's it for now out here because it's so windy. Again, my apologies for that. But I'll head home now and I'll finish I'll continue and eventually finish talking about rooftop tents and hoist systems and that kind of stuff. So yeah. Oh, real quick, actually, been here for like 4 hours. Let's see. Ooh. Ice cold. Nice work. All right, whew, long day. But now that I'm not in a rush, I'll show you a little bit more about this hoist, this chain pulley, this chain hoist. And I'll show you a setup that I actually have in my garage that I've had a tent hanging from my ceiling for like, I don't know, a year straight. I don't even use the tent. Maybe I'll sell it. Maybe one of you guys wants it. So here, I just grabbed a ladder to make it a little easier to film stuff. So what I have here are straps. Again, I'll link to these straps down below. They're actually too long for my limited height and how tall this truck is. So I kind of wrapped them around the front runner bar here. And you may not want to do this. All the bolts and stuff, really like lock washers and stuff, are not made to be put on and put off. So just taking off the tent mounts is definitely a better way to go. But I wanted to take the whole thing off because, as you could see, when I transported the trees, I just wanted to fold this whole thing up. So coincidentally, where mine folded up landed right on this hinge. If this lands somewhere else, you'll just make a little, probably make a little mark on your Diamondback. But that's what this is for. That's what this is for, to make marks. So basically, I went from wake up in the morning before hitting church, rigged up this pulley system, took this thing off, went to church, swung by Home Depot, grabbed a bunch of trees, got some Taco Bell, swung over to my property, planted all those trees, hung out for a while, and now I'm back here to the pulley system. Here we go. So this is my deck, by the way. This is just my deck, which is over my garage. You can do a similar thing anywhere that you have access to some type of a beam, obviously. So in your garage, you have trusses or floor joists or whatever you have, depending on the setup of your house. Sorry, I have this on auto exposure. Let me change it real quick. All right, so up under here is just this. This is really meant to be mounted not vertically. It's meant to be mounted just like horizontally, like right here. But I mounted it like this and it'll be fine for this weight. So this is the swing mount. There's a lot of different mounts you could use that might be better. This is literally, for like a swing. So it's designed to hold a bunch of weight. And then I just have a big carabiner here. And then hooked to the carabiner, I have a 1 ton. This may be about the smallest, weakest option you can get for like a true chain pulley. They have come-alongs and other things like that, which are ratchet systems, which you could probably get and does basically the same thing. But the idea here, sorry, my dogs are running around on the deck right now. This thinner chain is what you pull. So you pull it in either direction. It has a brake. So once you stop pulling, it disengages, or it engages or disengages the clutch to where now it's locked. Now this isn't going anywhere until I pull on this chain one way or another to either raise it or lower it. It's basically just a crazy gear reduction system inside of here. Just if you're curious about technology, just Google chain hoist or chain pulley and it'll show. So this is a 20-foot one, so I have a ton of excess chain. So basically, a 20-foot system will be able to pulley, basically from my roof all the way down to the ground. So I really only needed to pull it like a foot, 2 feet probably. So overkill for me. So basically I just used a carabiner here to hook onto it just because this hook is a little too big for that. And on the bottom I used another carabiner just hook into these two kind of like mini carabiner type things that came with the straps. So these are straps basically like seatbelt rated for way more than a tent. So this whole setup is not really too worried about anything. The only thing is there is some pressure put onto the side here. The iCamper is pretty soft. Like you can't stand on this at all. You definitely crush it. So this would be your only point of kind of concern, but right along the edge here, it's actually pretty stout because it's got the bend and stuff here. So anyway, here's this system. Let me see if I can put the camera on a tripod and I'll just show you, you know, lowering it. A lot of people ask about this Audi down here. It's Audi, it's a B6 A4. I do have the E85 tune, but that's just my daily. That's I like to have a winter car with snow tires on it. Random, I know, sorry, I'm random. Okay, one sec. All right, so I'll swing over to this side so you get a little better vantage of what's going on. But basically you want to back your vehicle up as close as you can to where you need to go. And then, so pulling this chain, one direction will raise it and the other direction will lower it. So you basically have to disengage the clutch and then I start lowering it down. So this would be easier with two people, but I'm basically gonna lower it a little bit and then go and check out where my footing is. And ideally, I parked close enough to where I can kind of, obviously you see I can kind of move this around where it needs to go. So as I'm lowering it, I'll kind of move it into position. Unfortunately, I have this at a little bit of an angle, and if I was doing this from the other side, those are the feet that are hitting first. So you could probably see in the video, I'm not sure if I'm lined up, so I'll have to kind of duck and see on that side. So we're actually pretty close. I think that kind of drops us into place right there, so I will kind of hold that and lower. Alright, perfect. Looks like we're in the hole there, so we'll just keep on lowering it down. And now that's it. Now the tent is right back to where I took it off. So the reason I did this again was so I could angle that thing up easier, but also so I didn't have to remember where I had the tent on the crossbars. Now it is exactly where it was when I took it off. So now I'll just unhook these and let those slide off the side. So now, as you can see, we drop these right back in to there, put these bolts back through, and the tent is mounted again. So if I didn't do all that talking and explaining, that whole process would only take a few minutes, honestly, especially if you have a place already designated for a pulley. So that is that setup, how to pretty easily get your rooftop tent on and off. If you are in an apartment complex with a carport or something, maybe you could just put a pretty unobtrusive bolt up there and then kind of bring this pulley system out and do that. So the iCamper and a lot of tents have one continuous rail here. So basically what you can do if you don't have a place for a pulley system or whatever is you undo the bolt. Again, this is iCamper does have a lockable option. So this is a locking version, so people can't just steer your tent quite as easily. So you basically take the mounts off, and then this is just a sled. This is a sled on top of this. So all you need to do, and I've done this by myself as well, is slide this off of the back. Eventually you'll get to a tipping point back here where, and I just don't want to do this right now because I'm lazy, you get to a tipping point and then you can tip it off of the back. Now what I've done with trucks is if you don't want to mar this stuff up, if you're worried about that, then you just grab a piece of carpet, a super thick piece of cardboard, whatever, something to protect this edge, because this is basically going to slide down this, and these are aluminum rails, so they would mar this, or it hits the paint depending on your angle. You could definitely scratch this. So basically you just want to protect your tailgate, or depending on your setup, where your crossbars are, how low they are, the Ford tailgate sticks out quite a bit because it's got this built-in step. So depending on what your setup is back here, you'll want to protect this. But basically once this slides off, you just gently let the tent slide to the ground, and then it's off. Then you gotta move the tent from there. But depending on where you're unloading it, if it's your garage or whatever, you put some cardboard down and you can kind of shim it over against the wall or whatever. So you can definitely get this off with one person, but it will require sliding and shimming and all that kind of stuff because this is a pretty tent. Now, if you got a lighter tent, you could do it. But I've done it with the full-size Sky Camp, which is about as big of a tent as you're gonna get. Now, I've even used the same system on my Land Cruiser. I got this GFC up by myself from the ground up top. And I did the same thing to where I basically leaned it against the back and I used pool noodles. So I had like the foamed noodles that I just rolled, kind of like the Egyptians or whoever, who knows what was going on back in the day, aliens maybe, how they moved the 500-ton bricks across the land is with logs. So they use logs as the rollers to move that. I used fun noodles, pool noodles as the rollers. So I tipped it up and then rolled it across the top. So that's the setup I used to get it on top because I don't have crossbars. This is a direct mount. But similar system you would use to get the tent off and on, except you wouldn't need rollers because you have these crossbars, so it would just slide. So pretty slick little setup with the Diamondback cover, obviously, and the front runner racks there. So that's how you turn your truck from an overland rig to an actual truck. You can put trees in the back and, you know, go to church, get your trees, plant your trees, come back, and get right back into expedition mode all by yourself with no help. Pretty easy, honestly. So I said I was gonna talk about some other systems. So this is a pulley system that I have mounted in my garage full time. So this is an X cover. This is the original X cover. Don't mind my filthy, disheveled garage. I got a lot going on. So basically what I did with this was up above my garage is a room. So these are technically floor joists going this way. And I popped a bunch of screws into multiple floor joists and put this 2x4 up. And the 2x4 has these hooks. And these hooks came with this pulley system. So I have them there and there. And basically these straps are running long ways on this old prototype X cover. And then this is a pulley system, not a geared system, but it uses a series of pulleys. That whole mechanism is actually back here. Sorry, I just turned on some lighting up here. So that whole pulley system is up here. So a series of pulleys means I pull that one cord, and that does the basically gear ratio reduction that allows me to pull this up onto the roof. So this system's kind of even easier. I just back the truck into the garage, back it in here, and then I lower the tent with the pulley system onto it. Then I just mount the tent onto the crossbars. When I want to take it off, I take the mounts off, put those straps on, and then just pulley it back up to the roof, to the ceiling. So that is how you can get a rooftop tent easily on and off your vehicle. No problems. This is my garage. For those of you that have seen my garage, I still haven't painted it. Like I started painting it gray over there, and that's how it's been for the last 2 years. Oh, how embarrassing. So I don't have a super tall garage, but this is, I don't know. I have no idea, honestly. Maybe it's shy of 8 feet. Maybe I have a 10 foot garage, but basically that allows it to get tucked all the way up to the ceiling, and you can still drive and park under it. Sweet. Well, hope you enjoyed that super random day in the life of the Diamondback truck, using it not just for like a camping adventure rig, but actually using it to put trees in a truck, right? Because why else do you have a truck if not to put trees and a bunch of mulch and some galvanized horse water troughs and all that stuff. Speaking of, actually, quick other update. Since you guys know, well, if you don't know, I'm moving. So this is my current house I live in that I'll sell. Maybe if one of you guys wants to buy this sweet house, I'll let you guys know when it's for sale. But I bought a bunch of bins. These are just 2 of them that I got today. And so we're gonna make basically raised garden beds in here. So I got some grapes and some cold hardy kiwi. Actually, the kiwi are right over here. So this is the kiwi that actually can survive in my climate zone, my mountain climate zone. So for fruits, you oftentimes, this is a little lesson in fruits, need a pollinator. So if you have, some are self-pollinating, like strawberries and stuff, or self-pollinating. Other things, like most apples and pears and stuff like that, need a pollinator. So this is the kiwi that will actually make kiwis, and this is the other kiwi that won't make kiwis but will pollinate it. Ideally, you get 2 fruits that make fruits but pollinate each other, so both of these would be making fruits. But the only kiwis that can grow in my climate is this, and this is their pollinator. So anyway, these are going in. I have some grapes that are going in. These are some blueberries, some raspberries, and strawberries. So basically, you know, I'm always striving to be more self-sufficient. So we're growing some stuff. Ashley's growing a bunch of other stuff, you know, vegetables, gross. But these are what are going to be growing in here. So basically we'll keep the low things down low, and then we'll make some trellises. So the grapes will grow up, and then the strawberries will go in there. So the pea gravel for the drainage, and then some potting soil. So I got these kind of smaller ones just at Home Depot so that I think I'll be able to transport them to the new place, because these are not annual, they're perennial, so they'll keep growing year after year. But they're cold hardy, but we want to start now since we're not living at the new place yet. So we'll put these here and then transport them. Whew, if that wasn't a random video, I don't know what was. We'll have an update on the van too as well soon. So yeah, again, I might be repeating myself. Hope you enjoyed that weird little day in the life / educational video. Again, so we actually finally came to a decision on the charity. Diamondback did so much due diligence on the organizations. Thank you for that, Diamondback. But I'll probably make a separate video to announce the charity that all of the money that we're gonna raise from raffling this truck off will go to. So all that stuff is still to come. If you're new here or just catching up, this is a Ford Tremor, a crazy one that I've been building up and modifying. Actually, the next video probably will be diving into the KC highlights, True Automotive, and Imagecraft. So the wrap, the lights, and the fenders. So probably that'll be the next video after this, kind of talking about that. And then probably very soon after that, I'll talk about everything, raffle, and the charity that all the money's going towards. So that'll be super sweet. Excited about that. Whew, hand was getting tired. So that's that. Feel free to ask questions down below. Again, I'll link to all this stuff down in the video description below. As always, appreciate you using those links. I have coupon codes for a lot of stuff. LLOD.us/coupons. Just go there all the time. Bookmark that page. I always keep those things up to date. Also, quick update. This is the video of updates. I made an Instagram account for my holster company and all of that kind of gear-related stuff. So I'd appreciate you following that. That is where I'll make announcements on new holsters, new products, new developments in that world. So yeah. Thank you for joining me on the channel. This has been so much fun. Really been loving this YouTube thing, and couldn't do it without your viewership and hitting those thumbs up and sharing it and all that YouTube crap. So I always appreciate you doing that. Whew. The hardest thing for me about making YouTube videos is remembering to breathe when I'm talking, like rambling on and on and on again. So I'll like ramble and be like, oh, man. Rambly video. Okay, I better cut it off. All right, until next time, guys. Take care.